After studying this chapter, you will be able to explain how our laws reflect ethics based on consequences and ethics based on reasoning, and discuss why we are obligated to obey laws. In our country, the people, directly or indirectly, determine the laws that bind them. They do this by electing representatives to lawmaking bodies such as city councils, state legislatures, and the Congress of the United States. In these elections and in the legislative bodies, majority rule prevails. The Constitution of the United States seeks to ensure that our federal lawmaking system reflects the desires of our citizens in determining laws. It does this by creating a national legislature composed of two bodies, the House of Representatives and the Senate. The police force is an impartial body that enforces the laws. Some examples of current laws created since post 9/11 would include the U.S. Patriot Act of 2001, which expanded the authority of the FBI to contact banks, internet service providers, and other third parties to gather citizens' personal information. The Intelligence Reform and Terrorism Prevention Act of 2004, which authorized the Department of Homeland Security to develop a strategic plan for airport security measures to detect weapons and other objects in airports, and the Foreign Intelligence Security Act of 2008, which allows the government to intercept Americans' international communications without a warrant as long as one party to the communication is reasonably believed to be outside the United States. The government has ethically reasoned that these measures need to take place in order to keep the American people safe. Because the system is grounded on majority rule, it uses many of the features of consequence-based ethics. In this system, laws are judged to be right or good when they affect the majority of the people positively. With advances in technology, we need rules to guide decisions about health care. With respect to our ability to mass communicate, we need to have guidelines for what is and is not appropriate. With access to information of all kinds being so easy, it is important to protect one's information. Some examples of laws today that reflect rule-based ethics would include anti-bullying legislation and confidentiality laws such as the HIPAA laws. Civil rights or civil liberties generally are personal human rights recognized and guaranteed by our Constitution. Among the civil rights recognized are freedom of religion, speech, and the press, freedom from unreasonable searches and seizures, the right to a speedy and impartial trial, the right to vote, and a host of others. On page 26, if you read the case or the law on the Internet section, some of the human rights that were violated were the right to privacy, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, the right from violence, the right to live free from harassment and attack, the right to receive an education, and the right to develop to one's full potential. Precedent that was set is that net communications will not be treated differently from other forms of communication. It also addressed the civil rights violations as well. Often matters simply need a consistent rule to assure order and predictability. The rule need not be based on majority rule or on moral rights. Sometimes this means that the rule or law is arbitrary, such as the blood alcohol content, which is 0.08 in Connecticut. A clear rule is needed and is perhaps more important that the rule exist than it be completely fair. To be just, such rules of law must be communicated in advance and they must be applied consistently. We are obligated to obey the law because ethical reasoning demands it, because we have agreed to obey it, and because by obeying it we avoid punishment. Both ethics based on consequences and ethical rules obligate us to obey the law. According to consequences-based reasoning, when the law is violated, many more people are injured than benefited. According to rule-based reasoning, when we violate the law, We break our promise because as citizens we have agreed to obey the laws. Integrity is the capacity to do what is right even in the face of temptation or pressure to do otherwise. When one has integrity, he or she is likely to follow the laws and believe it is the right thing to do, not because of consequences. Some people comply with the law primarily to avoid punishment. Some industries automatically exclude persons with criminal records from employment consideration. Employers often purchase fidelity bonds for persons who handle large sums of money, such as cashiers, managers of movie theaters, or supervisors of restaurants. A fidelity bond is an insurance policy that pays the employer money in the case of theft by employees. Generally, those convicted of a serious crime cannot qualify for a fidelity bond. Also, many professions are closed to those who are convicted of serious crimes. Before being licensed, prospective lawyers, public accountants, and medical doctors are subject to a background check. Civil disobedience is an open, peaceful violation of a law to protest its alleged injustice. Some people's concern for justice sometimes compels them to violate what they consider to be an unjust law, a law that they feel is in conflict with ethical reasoning. The goal of those who engage in civil disobedience is not to advance their self-interest, but rather to make the legal system more just. The participants may be willing or even eager to be arrested in order to test the validity of the law in court. Martin Luther King Jr. believed that civil disobedience can be justified to be ethical when a written law is in conflict with ethical reasoning, no effective political methods are available to change the law, the civil disobedience is nonviolent, the civil disobedience does not advance one's immediate self-interest, and the civil disobedience is public and one willingly accepts the punishment for violating the law. Scofflaws are persons who do not respect the law. They simply assess the risk of being caught against the benefits they obtain by breaking the law. They think they are smart because they frequently violate valid laws without being caught. A scofflaw is never ethically justified in violating the law. With your rights as a citizen go individual responsibilities. Every American shares them. Only by fulfilling our duties are we able to maintain our rights. Your duties as a citizen include the duty to obey the law, the duty to respect the rights of others, the duty to inform yourself on political issues, the duty to vote in elections, the duty to serve on juries if called, the duty to serve and defend your country, and the duty to assist agencies of law enforcement. By electing representatives to lawmaking bodies, our legal system is grounded on majority rule. It uses many of the features of consequence-based ethics. In this system, laws are judged to be right or good when they affect the majority of the people positively. When the people or legislature pass laws that undermine human rights, they are usually declared unconstitutional. Federal judges are appointed for life, so they are free from the influence of the population and elected officials. This permits judges to protect human rights without risking their jobs. Some people comply with the law primarily to avoid punishment. Some industries automatically exclude persons with criminal records from employment consideration. Also, many professions are closed to those who are convicted of serious crimes. Before being licensed, prospective lawyers, public accountants, and medical doctors are subject to a background check. We'll talk more about ethics in the law in class.